So now we move to the other legal troubles, some of the other legal troubles that Trump is having. This Thursday, February 8th, the Supreme Court is going to hear the case of whether Donald Trump is eligible to even be on ballots based on his qualification under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment.
Big.
So this comes out of Colorado, where the state Supreme Court decided that Trump was ineligible to be on the ballot in the Republican primary because they said he had incited insurrection. And according to the 14th Amendment, that meant he wasn't allowed to be president. So Trump, of course, appealed that to the Supreme Court. They're hearing arguments on Thursday. And the arguments themselves seem extremely weak. The main argument is that the president of the United States is an office that isn't covered by the amendment. It says senators, representatives, officers of the United States, and they're arguing that president is not one of those officers. So you can get into the technicality of the language, but when it comes down to it, like, you're trying to make the argument that this amendment was written thinking that every office of the United States, besides the highest one, should be barred from serving in the government if they incite insurrection. Why? How could that make any sense? I can't wrap my head around it.
Well, you talked to me about, and you gave me a great historical example of actually the arguments on the floor of the House of Representatives, or maybe the Senate, I don't remember what you were telling me, but of these two congressmen talking about it, and they were like, wait a second, I'm sorry, why did you not include the president? And the guy's response who wrote it was like, anyone who reads this is going to know the president's included, and it's not even going to be relevant.
Exactly. It's not going to be relevant. And so this is barely even an argument at all, and yet there's still enormous questions about how this case is going to go. I would say most people think Trump is going to be acquitted. They think Trump is going to be allowed on the ballot. And the context here is the court worrying about hurting its own integrity because by removing a contender from the democratic process, right? This makes some sense. In the end, this is going to be a quote-unquote anti-democratic decision.
It depends what you mean by democratic, to be honest, because is it democratic to vote for a demagogue?
Well, it's going to be pro-rule of law.
Yes.
Right? It would be pro-rule of law to keep him off the ballot. But as far as democracy, meaning people have choice in who leads them, it's going to reduce the people's choice. However, to me, and part of this also comes from PTSD that the court has after Bush v. Gore, where the court decided that Florida had to stop counting votes in the 2000 election, which essentially gave the election to George Bush. That hurt the court's integrity enormously, made them look super partisan, and the court is worried that if they boot Trump off the ballot, then it'll be the same thing. But in my mind, their integrity is going to be more hurt if they keep Trump on the ballot.
I agree.
At least if anyone, and that's why I'm hoping we get enough people to actually understand what the arguments in this case are. I hope people understand the technicality. I'm really concerned that most people, if they rule against Trump, are just going to see Supreme Court makes one person makes leading Republican candidate removed from the ballot.
Yeah, and that's just a nightmare of a headline because it's so misleading. Mm-hmm. There are no arguments that Trump's own defense could actually come up with that are plausible to keep him on the ballot because there's really no way about it.
Exactly. No, the thing is that the Colorado Supreme Court got it right in keeping Trump off the ballot. And the only considerations that there are to keep him on the ballot are political.
Yeah, there are no law-related questions about this. This isn't lawfare, because lawfare, I hear this all the time from Republicans, lawfare is when you use the law and skirt around it to go after your political enemies. So far, there's been no evidence that it's being used or we're skirting around the law to go after political enemies. It seems like we're just following the law, and it just so happens that the guy that you love so much is a fucking criminal insurrectionist. I don't know what to tell you.
He broke the law. That's the issue. And so we know this because you also know, the consensus of legal professionals and legal experts is that Trump violated the 14th Amendment, is that it applies to him, no, of course that the 14th Amendment does apply to the president, and of course it makes no sense that it wouldn't, right? So to me, I'm just hoping we can project that message far enough, because this case is happening in 2 days. They're definitely already thinking. The justices are definitely already thinking about how they're going to rule on it, and I'm concerned about them making the political calculation.
Yeah.
And the only way that we can protect against that is by trying to circulate this message enough that hopefully we need to try to shift the politics towards more like, oh no, it actually means the court has less integrity if they leave him on the ballot, not the other way around.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah. We'll see. I still doubt it will happen. People are in their bubbles and they don't like going out of their way to learn what's actually going on. So
Shocking.
Yeah.
All right, we'll catch you up on next time when about that topic.
Yep.